Yeah, again, yeah. Okay, so how do you define entrepreneurship?
It's difficult. On my worst days, I have been going down on my knees, naked, crying in the middle of my fucking
Fuck.
house because I had really bad days.
I'm good.
Right, I'm good.
Action. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Adonis Talk, where we empower your journey to success and personal growth. My name is Jared, and today we have a special guest, Nelson Inno. Nelson Inno is an entrepreneur from El Salvador who's now based in Germany. He's the founder of WeSpark, EarnB, and Dmany. He has appeared on multiple conferences, TEDx talks, and major newspapers such as Forbes. He is here today to share his personal journey and insights in the realm of entrepreneurship and in Bitcoin. Welcome, Nelson Inno. Well, Nelson Inno, welcome to the podcast. I'm happy to have you on. It's an honor. We've known each other for a little while now, even though we met once, which was
Yeah,
last
but we
year.
have talked many times here, so yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. So, what's your background, Nelson?
My background, maybe from the personal side, I have to say that I'm Salvadorian. Like I was born and raised in El Salvador. It wasn't called Bitcoin country or anything. I went to a German school there. It was the only private school that my parents could send me because it was greatly subsidized by the German government. I believe like 80% or something. So I got normal German education, gymnasium, as they call it, gymnasium abitur. And after this, like I had the option to go and study in Germany. And I wanted to experience another culture, be in another place, kind of like be my own boss, but at least like be independent. And with that in mind, I decided to go study in Germany. I studied, let me remember, so something like industrial engineering, but with a specific, like with the specifics of a product engineering or product development engineering. Then I did an MBA in sales and service engineering. And yeah, I mean, with the time, I started working for several companies. Like some of the highlights, when I was first starting and being an intern, it was like at Microsoft or Siemens. But then eventually I ended up working a lot in IT companies, in like automotive or like auto production companies, and then a lot to do with aircrafts and airlines. So working for MROs, companies that repair aircrafts, and I'm working for airlines such as Avianca Airlines in America, in South America, and most of my very recent corporate work was at Lufthansa and multiple companies within Lufthansa, the German airline. And yeah, and then since like around 5 years, I became an entrepreneur. Actually, like next month is gonna be the full 5 year cycle
Ooh.
with WeSpark. Yeah, woohoo! I wanted to break free from 9 to 5 work, and I did.
Yeah.
Now I get to work like 12 hours a week. A week, no, 12 hours a day, every day of the week. But yeah, so at least I broke free from 9 to 5. Now I work more, but at least I'm my own boss. Um, and yeah, and then I started opening a series of companies. Now, like Dmany and EarnB being the fifth and sixth. I mean, if it's a single company, so to say, but like the fifth company so far.
Okay.
But yeah.
So what inspired you to be an entrepreneur? What got you running in this ventures?
Yeah, well, I've been asked a few times, and to be honest, there are some background reasons. My parents, they are both entrepreneurs. They have like 4 or 5 companies together. Not too big, but in total around 150 employees. Focusing mostly on everything that has to be with customer support and PR, communication, and so on. So the companies are based in El Salvador. And while growing up, I mean, basically, when I was a baby, I already knew that at some moment, I mean, sorry, when I was a baby, my father was already entrepreneur. So growing up, I always kind of like had the thought like, maybe one day I will be my own boss and so on. And then I would listen to my father. Then eventually my mother also came entrepreneur. But to be honest, I just started discovering that I was really, really good at certain things and that I was always overperforming some of my teammates. Uh, and then I thought it's like maybe, just maybe, I can just like learn a little bit about marketing, learn a little bit about legal stuff, learn a little bit about entrepreneurship, and then just like teach myself everything what you need, like about organizational stuff and so on, to be able to do my stuff. And with the increasing feeling of like being a tiger inside of a mini cage, like just like walking in circles,
Just
things
working
taking too
circles, yeah.
long and so on. I remember finally had like the third strike. Like for me, I had a third strike on things that I really wanted. I said like, okay, that's it. I want to be entrepreneur, whatever it takes, and so I started WeSpark with the pure intention of well helping other people reach innovation, which is what I was doing the best at every of my last jobs. And yeah, and I said like, if I have an innovation agency and I'm helping a lot of different companies in many different industries with multiple people, like super heterogenic perspectives, and eventually being exposed to hundreds of ideas, like even thousands by now, then I thought maybe one day I'm going to have that super cool, digital, scalable, world changing idea that I would like to persuade and to even empower it with Spark. And at this point is where we are now. At this point, you met me.
At
So
that
yeah,
point, yeah.
more on that later, I guess.
Yeah. How would you define innovation? Because I know you like the word and you used it all. Um, how would you define innovation?
you know, I don't even know what is the definition of innovation. I haven't bothered to read it because I'm most likely going to be um, feeling like embarrassed by someone else writing an innovation. But yeah, so what is important is what is a practical definition of innovation. And for that, at Whisper, we have one. By the way, I haven't been asked this question in a long time, but I still have the answer very clear in my mind. And it's that um, if you ask me and anyone in the Whisper team, innovation is a state of mind, and it's a state of mind that helps you basically like create products or services that bring value to the world, that bring value to other people. And that is innovation. What is not innovation is, and this is what most people incorporate in, is that innovation is maybe like some processes, or maybe allocating some resources, or having some metrics and pushing people, or maybe the most dangerous, a lot of people think that innovation is about just ideas, or that innovation is about knowing some creativity or innovative methods. And that is not all innovation. It all plays a role, but in most big companies, and the reason why I started Whisper is that I saw that people were striving far away from what innovation really is. And what innovation really is creating, like as a company, creating the culture that allows people to reach this innovative mindset. And as a person, and like from the individual view, is that like reaching this innovative mindset again and again.
Perfect. Yeah,
So I
because
hope that kind of
yeah, no,
tells
that
a
was a great
little bit.
answer. That was a great answer because obviously innovation is very very important when it comes to entrepreneurship. It might be one of the main pillars of it, and I think you summarized that pretty well. Um, you went on a TEDx talk a bit over 2 years now. I think it was December
Yeah.
2021.
Wait, it was 2009. I don't. I
I
don't
think it
know.
was
I don't know.
21.
I don't know.
I think it was December
I don't know.
2021.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Perhaps, yeah.
Like for me, it felt like it was
Time flies,
2019, but
COVID.
cool. It
Yeah,
was after COVID. Like
uh,
the timeline and the
yeah.
time frames, like it's everything like before COVID is very clear.
Yeah,
Like
the
okay, the
timeline
two
just completely
thousands,
fucked
two
up since
millennia.
you have no idea what's going on.
Uh,
Time flies.
Yeah, the internet, Apple changes the world, internet is growing, everything goes digital, blah 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 blah
Yeah,
blah.
it's
Then
growing
like
fast.
we have big crises, then some years of things growing, and then COVID comes, and everything is just but yeah, so a few years ago.
So a few years ago, yeah, we
Yeah,
don't know
yeah, let's
when.
let's stick with that.
But so you started. You went on a stage to talk about innovation and how um schools and the education system actually um I wouldn't say like breaks the creativity and innovative mindset of children. Um, I mean, do you want to talk about that? What's your take on that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, maybe let's start on why I wanted to do this TED talk, which is, I guess, like the most interesting part about it. And why I wanted to do it is I had this kind of like a growing anger, you can call it, so, or dissatisfaction with the current education system. I felt there is more like indoctrination, like okay, you need to do this or that, and people need to like write down whatever the teacher says. Like, what are you training for, to become a secretary or something, you know?
So some do you.
These are kind of things that are going on my head.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, I'm not against education, right?
Hmm.
It's 100% needed, and education gets a lot of things right. But the problem is that when you have a system that is very standardizing and that doesn't allow enough flexibility for individuals to discover how to learn, because that's the whole point, right? Is learning how to learn is the biggest, most important skill, and what people forget the most, I feel. But yeah, but getting to that, you have to allow some wiggle room, some individual path that every single kid can take, so that they find the best way to learn. And like, some people are better at math, other people are getting are better at art stuff, and so on, and we all can have a foundation. But even through, if we still want to have the same foundation, we all have different approaches. And with this growing anger of that was based off my experience. I never really fit anywhere. Man, I can tell you that when I was at school, I always felt odd, I always felt unheard. When I was at university, I wouldn't go to most of the subjects. Like, I would go like to, from every like 10 classes, I would go to 1.5, 2 classes or something. And the ones that I went, I really liked them. I will pass with the best grades, and all the other ones I will just pass with the minimum grade, because what was I doing, right? I was there to learn some things that I might use in the future, and then the rest I was there just to get a title and to pass anything with the minimum amount of effort, so that I can party, so that I can meet friends, so that I can explore Germany, and so on. So with that in mind, yeah, um I just thought that it would be really nice to apply everything what I knew and had learned so far about innovation, and just see how it would change, or how, or what it would use, what it would suggest to change on the innovation side, sorry, on the education side. And so it started. So with that in mind, I mean, you saw the TED Talk, right? So I don't want to spoil anything on it, but when you watch it, and if you watch it, I'm assuming that you do,
Yeah.
you will see that it tries to make the entire topic very visual,
Yeah.
right? So that anyone can have their own interpretation on it, and that's what I want to allow. That that everything what I usually do, or what I work, I try to make it so visual and so simple. Sometimes even oversimplifying some stuff, but the intention is to be a little bit polarizing, so that people can have a say. So with all my work, people always will criticize, or will say that they like it, or will add something alternative to it. Why? Because I made it easy to understand.
Hmm.
So if you have some extremely complex long test, like if you want to explain a topic and you take 500 pages to explain it, and so on, no one will participate. Like, you will just like just filter the possibilities on the amount of people that could even have the willingness and knowledge and the time to get into your topic and comment on it. You just make it to zero, right? Well, you just keep things very easy and open and clear, then people will always have something to say. And that's the whole point, because when everyone has something to say, then we actually achieve this kind of like common and democratized knowledge building, so as to say. But yeah.
Yeah, but I'll link I'll link the TED Talk. I'll link the TED Talk to
Thank
this
you, thank you. Yeah,
episode for
it's
sure.
a cool one. It's a
Yeah,
cool
it's
one.
good, honestly.
And leave a comment,
I will.
with that. Also, you can leave a
I
comment,
think
man, with whatever
I
you
think I
think.
already
Just
left.
criticize it.
I must have left a comment like a year or two ago. But I encourage
Okay,
those
okay.
listening to go on and show your support to Nelson
Nice,
on
thank you,
his
thank
TED
you.
Talk, and Adam Sandler. I'm not saying anything. Just um, your philosophy includes principles like always add value and don't forget where you come from. How has that guided you in your pursuit of entrepreneurship and perhaps other domains and realms?
Look, I feel that this makes it always go for the hard way, but it can only result in positive things. I mean, when you're adding value to other people, things can only work. The thing is that adding value is more difficult than just talking about adding value,
Mm.
right? You will find lots of places, pages, websites, companies, institutions, whatever, over promising things. telling about some audio that they add, and maybe they add a little bit, but if they are not deeply concerned about adding the most value per buck, the most value per dollar, per satoshi, then yeah, you're most likely to have, first of all, like customers that are not fully satisfied, problems. You're most likely to make mistakes and so on. Whether, if you always start from the perspective is, okay, who's my potential customer and which problem I am solving for her, for him, and so on, for them, then from this perspective, and I was thinking that, what is the most value that you can add? It's just a, let's call it a oversimplified recipe for success. Because, like, from whatever perspective, even like some like spiritual religion perspective, let's say like karma, right? You add value to other people, right? You're helping other people improve their lives, solve their problems, and so on. Then you will get more karma points.
Hmm.
From an economical, deeply economical perspective, the more value you add, the more people will buy from you, the higher the amount that they are willing to pay, the more they will recommend to other ones, and then you can become rich if that is your goal, right? From a process perspective, if you just concentrate on adding value first before anything else, then you will reach the end of your process and your goal faster. So whichever lens you want to, or perspective you want to just like now see this topic from, if you are adding value first, then you will never go wrong.
Perfect. That was well said. Well said. That was
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
Um, so El Salvador adopted Bitcoin in September 2021, right? Did you go into Bitcoin because your home country adopted Bitcoin? Or is it more of your entourage that
Look,
put
I
you in
will
it?
tell I will tell the real
Go ahead.
story. No censorship,
Yeah.
okay? It gets very dirty. It gets
Okay,
very, very
okay.
dirty.
Go ahead.
Um, so it's 2021, right? Yeah, 2021 it was. I just read, and some people come and ask me like about, oh, look, Nayib Bukele,
Oh, by the way, he's been re-elected.
back then and still currently the
Yeah,
president of
he's
El
been.
Salvador, re-elected
Yeah,
again yesterday.
exactly.
Yeah. He said, or no, the day before
Yeah,
yesterday,
well,
doesn't matter. Thing is that he just came and announced that implementation of Bitcoin as a legal tender. So I was like, wow, okay, I have been hearing this topic, but now it's something that is concerning my country.
mhm.
So maybe I should learn about it. Fast forward one month, I am going for a run, and I fell down and broke a hand. By the way, it just happened again 2 weeks ago. I have a broken hand. Maybe I should go to the
You
hospital.
should.
But
That'd be wise.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But I mean, it seems like the same type of fracture. So I'm just trying not to use it. So no more climbing, no more swimming. But yeah, don't worry about it. The thing is, I break a hand, and I have to stay at home for a weekend. I remember this weekend I was alone at home, and I said like, okay, what will I do? I have a broken hand. I cannot do parties. Nothing. So no exercise. And it just occurred to me, maybe because of all the whole Bitcoin thing, and the whole NFT trends that I've been hearing again in 2021 over the years. For me back then, Bitcoin and NFTs was the same thing.
It's just the same word.
So like at this point, my knowledge was virtually zero, right? Just the most normal person in this spectrum. I know nothing. Very much like Jon Snow. So I said I'm going to explore these NFT things. I created an NFT project on this weekend. On the next weekend, I sold it out. It was like 200 pieces or something. And yeah, a lot of money came in, and I was like, wow, that is the this is the power
Whoa.
of the internet, and the power of cryptocurrencies and so on. So for around 1 month, I was extremely bullish, and I stopped everything in my company. I asked all of my employees, I had back then 5 employees, and I told them that I need 1 month to go and learn some new stuff. So I started to go absolutely totally like a degen into learning, like starting with I started with Cardano, by the way, and then Ethereum and so on, learning as much as I could. And yeah, and then like in this moment, the bull run is starting to end. I start seeing how my money is kind of like going down the drain. I talked with a friend who's Abdul, by the way. He's one of my oldest friends that I know, that he's a Bitcoiner as well. We know each other from university, and he told me like, look, he started showing me some graphs comparing the altcoins, right? Shitcoins, you can argument, in comparison to Bitcoin, and yeah, and I just saw like, wow, okay, I'm really losing value. So yeah, back then I still made a lot of mistakes, and in summary, I lost everything that I had on altcoins. I got liquidated on my Bitcoin for leveraging and all this stuff. So all the
Yeah,
classic
yeah, don't worry,
mistakes.
I've been there too.
I end up paying everyone the same amount of Cardano that they pay for the NFTs back, because I wanted to be able to continue working in the industry, and I wanted to close this chapter. Right, I created an NFT project without knowing anything, so I didn't this time, because I was just testing something over the weekend. I didn't really focus on adding value. I thought that the value was the art, but I didn't know enough. So I ended up paying the people back. Everyone who wrote me like, "Oh, can you pay this, that?" So I'm just like, okay, here, poop. This is your Cardano. Here's your money back. Your money back. Your money back. You can keep the NFTs. I don't care. So after doing this, I remember that it was 6 months since my friend recommended me to learn about Bitcoin, and then I started reading this book that he sent me over, the Bitcoin Standard, and I started reading it. And after like half an hour, 1 hour, I'm like, jeez, I should have read this like like 1 month ago. So I ordered 3 copies of the book right away, because I know that I want other people to read it. By the way, I have ordered it like 6, 7 times so far, and now the little Bitcoin book like also like 8 times, and they give it to everyone that I love. But yeah, but then I started reading it, getting into it, and then very quickly, just like 1 year after, I was even like consulting the El Salvadorian government around things around Bitcoin and so on. So I went into learning about many other ecosystems, but most about Bitcoin, to the point that, look, I am still, like I still have dirty hands, so as to say, I still own altcoins or shitcoins. So some people might argument, but most of what I have is in Bitcoin, and I really like this philosophy. By the way, only someone asked, like maybe I lost it. Who knows? But again, what I want to say is that what I really like about Bitcoin is the people that I found, that I met, the philosophy. You know, it just goes with some of the values, principles that I have. It's kind of like, if it would be a religion, it feels very much like Buddhism or something. Well, Buddhism is not a
Yeah,
religion; it's more like a,
spiritual, yeah,
sorry for that. Like technically, it's a way
way of
of
living. Yeah.
living.
Well, you remember when at the
Uh,
crypto rockstars conference in, when was it, May? I named my yeah
yeah. It was
yeah
last year. That's what I know.
I named my my presentation Bitcoin as a way of living, to really talk
Yeah,
about the philosophy of it and the way, yeah, exactly what you said, the philosophy.
yeah. I was enjoying that a lot, and how all this like Bitcoin changed your life and
Exactly.
your way of living. That
So
was really
fun.
nice. But yeah, but then indeed, like it kind of like proves the point, right? That there's something more about it. Everything else that I am, okay, some things are quite some exciting for some reason and so on, but it's just different. It's just seem more like gambling or something, or but yeah, but it's different. So for everyone, there is a token out there, I guess, with different levels of risk. There's different methods of doing things. Some people are trading Bitcoin, some people are gambling with Bitcoin. Other people just really truly understand it, and they have another way of accumulating it,
Mhm.
right? And yeah, so like my favorite is clear. Look, I have here, right?
Exactly. Yeah, perfect. There you go. Yeah, all the way on
Yeah,
Bitcoin.
yeah,
Perfect. Because I had Paco del India, right? Yeah,
yeah.
I just had
Okay,
him
huh?
on the show. When was it? 2 days ago.
Perfect. Yeah, I was just writing him on Twitter that I will see him on Bitcoin Atlantis in around 1 month, less than
Oh,
a month.
nice.
Yeah, if you will be there, it looks like it's gonna be a really, really
Where,
cool
when is it
event.
and where?
1st to the 3rd of March Madeira. This island, like I believe close to Canarian Islands, is a Portuguese
Yeah,
island in the Atlantic,
I'll
west
see.
from.
Because I'm in university in the UK at the moment, so it's a bit complicated. But I'm looking to go to the Bitcoin Prague 2024.
Yeah, maybe I'm gonna attend that one too. Let's see. Let's
Yeah,
see.
I'll see because I've been to Prague before and they've got a big community. And apparently the conference is not bad. So so you're into Bitcoin 2021 2022. When did you start thinking of creating a decentralized engagement platform, which is now
So,
Dmany?
w- yeah. So okay, now I'm working on one project at a time, which is the many, but it has like several perspectives. It has three perspectives on the project. So when I was going into all these altcoins, NFT stuff, and so on, I was learning a lot. And then I started to think, okay, how can you actually add value? How can you reduce the gambling? How can you at least help people understand what they are getting into, and so on? And at the same time, I had these things that I wanted to change in the world. Like just today and earlier yesterday in the night, I was watching a video called from YouTube, from a discussion from Linus Tech Tips, and it's arguing that the internet is dying, and it is dying due to how marketing works and SEO and so on. So, um, I mean, I grew up with the internet. I was like 13 when I did my first like website and started like going in online when I was 8, 1990 something. Um, 1998, 99, and so on. So I checked like I don't even remember which Windows was 95, 98. There was so, so I like
Super
that's the thing
fine.
is when you're born in a poor country is that when like innovation and everything just came very quickly. I lived the story of the internet and like what other people live in 20 years. I live in like 7 years. Um, but eh, coming back to it, wait, and I got lost. I got lost. What was the question again? So did I come back to it?
What made you create Dmany?
Ah, yeah.
What
Sorry,
was the
sorry. The
inspiration for that? No
decentralization.
worries, no
Yeah,
worries.
sorry. Now coming back. So I've been like in the internet for a long time, just kind of like creating content, growing. At some point, I was joking that I was a meme connoisseur or something. There was a website called 9gag and so on, and I really like all this interactive stuff, all these like community-driven platforms, forums. I've been participating in Reddit, like everywhere, right? If there
Hmm.
was a social media, I was there. But as of late, I feel that. That like everything is just going in the same direction. So just like advertising, you have like Instagram, like just people showing people a lot of things that don't add value to them. It's like, oh, look, I'm here on vacation and so on. And at the end just making people sad in the long term. Then I also see like TikTok and so on, just like people kind of like doing dances and so on. Okay, cool, at least if you do a TikTok, you're burning some calories. But other than that, if you're scrolling TikTok, like where are you gonna go, right? I mean, what are you gonna learn?
It's just doom
So
scrolling.
yeah, we wanted that, like if you cannot get rid of advertising at all because it's always going to be there, at least instead of a few hands collecting all the advertising money, you have to imagine that Google exists due to that, right? Google, Facebook slash Meta, and all
Yeah,
these
they all
big
rely on
companies. So
ads and
yeah, they
marketing.
all
Yeah.
rely on us, and they are the major winning companies, the ones that are getting like 90% plus of all the money
Hmm.
into it. And said like, okay, so if ads are here to stay, which they are here to stay, why
Hmm.
not just at least make it so that this money flows from the companies to their customers? Clear, right? Yeah. Why give your marketing budget to Google, Facebook, and co when you can give it to your customers, the people who truly understand your product or service, who can really genuinely tell what they like about it, what could be better, who could like create like tutorials, who could create video reviews, who can like make infographics or create memes explaining things. So it's just, if you think about it, it's very very logic. But why hasn't this happening? And this is because like organizing this, like basically decentralizing your marketing, it's a lot of work. You have to coordinate that a lot of people do one particular quest or task, that still brings value to your marketing budget, and then you need to review or validate your quality and still pay them. And that is it's a big thing to do. If you will try to do it right now, you will start doing some Excel or Google Sheets, and then like you will have to have some lists here and there, and it just becomes organizational and logistical nightmare right away. But mixing crypto with this entire thing, it shows the point that you can very easily and very cheaply transfer rewards, or to hundreds or thousands of people at once, like through use of smart contracts and so on, through this like a batch transactions and so on. So this was one of the things of the puzzle that we didn't have before, but today you can do it very easy. So with my two partners, Stan and Yasha, and we decided to create this platform to not concentrate on common like retweet, because there are some, like, people call it bounty hunting platforms out there that do this, but to focus on tasks and quests that really create value. Again, like if you create a video review or a tutorial or an article or design an infographic or a meme or create a song, whatever, you need to have a minimum amount of knowledge to do it. So that means people are learning this foundational knowledge. Then you need to have some skills. That means people continue working on their skills. And then, like through the validation, you can reward the people. So with that in mind, I said that there's like three perspectives to Dmany. And that's that Dmany is how it started. And because my partners are really like into DGM stuff and Web3 stuff, you can argument we started there. But through the middle of last year, as I am learning more about Bitcoin, really liking the philosophy and so on, I said, like, I would like to have a Bitcoin only platform. And so the idea of EarnB was born. This is what I've been starting to present since November, preparing everything and so on. Maybe one day I can just dedicate to the EarnB, and do nothing else, so that I am just focusing on Bitcoin only companies. That's my dream. But first, I have both a personal as well as a legal compromise to my partners to develop Dmany. So I'm kind of like doing the two in parallel. And the third perspective is eventually we will go to not Web 2, you could call it, or traditional companies. But yeah, imagine is like I worked for Lufthansa before. Imagine if Lufthansa, together with Star Alliance or Austrian, Swiss, if they will have their own platform, and then they can distribute miles, like from their miles and more thing.
Mm-hmm.
So then you have another perspective on things. Then it's no longer Web3, it's no longer Bitcoin. It's just like decentralizing marketing,
Mm-hmm.
and that's at the very end what we're doing with it. But yeah, maybe it's gonna have another brand. Maybe it's gonna go
Another
under
name.
the many.
Okay.
Maybe by then, like Bitcoin is catching up with different countries, and maybe Lufthansa would like to distribute satoshis.
Who
Who
knows?
knows,
Who
right?
knows? Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe it's just EarnB. But yeah. So but that's kind of like the whole idea. I try to explain it very very easy.
That's good. Yeah, you explained it well. Yeah, when you told me the news about EarnB, God, no, my dad is proud of you because he was like, first with Dmany, he was like, it's shit coins, but since EarnB, you've earned his respect.
Yeah. I mean, we're all finding our way, right?
Yeah, no, for
I'm
sure.
not going to criticize anyone who wants to use the many,
Oh no, for sure.
because maybe there's something. Look, I would rather have people at least understanding what they are getting into, and using their time to learn, getting skills, getting to know other people. Maybe what I imagine is most likely they will end up with Bitcoin, because this was my way. I started super DJing, and
Yeah.
then it's like as I'm learning, progressing, it's like, okay, there's no second best, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, and on other places, people are just gambling their money and so on, losing like 99% of the people lose money while trading. So at least here they can kind of like participate in these things. But yeah, on the Dmany there is going to be a direct link for people to go on the EarnB page and win satoshis. It's like, okay, so you want to get into Bitcoin, this is your way into Bitcoin, and on the EarnB there's going to be more education so that they stick to it.
So you're making bridges
But
between
you
both
see, so
platforms.
I don't, I don't criticize, because like this is how I started myself.
Exactly. No, you should never criticize because obviously
But
I
yeah,
wouldn't go spitting on other projects on other cryptocurrencies because I believe they all have interesting projects and values. Even though I know Bitcoin is the way. But again, everybody's free to do what they think is wise and the best path.
The topic of tokenization on Bitcoin and so on might change some things. I don't know, like there's now these people running with wizards as memes and loading NFTs on Bitcoin. So it's maybe showing some trend. I don't know, like my position is like innovation should happen and it's natural, but at the same time, like on my Bitcoin side of things, like because I'm educating and showing a lot of people, exposing them to Bitcoin, it makes my work harder. Of like when you have really high fees because the network is polluted.
Mm-hmm.
So you see why sometimes I feel like torn apart, just in the middle, broken down into different ways of thinking. But yeah, I don't know. I just hope that problems are addressed and solved. They are definitely addressed. I can see on my feed, on my Nostr, and on my Twitter. But let's see how things develop. In the meantime, we believe that decentralizing marketing is going to um, maybe not make the internet a little bit more genuine, but my hope is that people really only participate on projects that they like. So if you like, I don't know, imagine that you have long hair and now like a really like small natural shampoo company or something has created something that makes your hair beautiful again, and you want to talk about this project, then you're going to do. And whether you win like fiat, some altcoins, slash shitcoins, or satoshis, it's kind of like every single person's decisions, but we're going to be there. And the idea is that like from every platform they can all go to like discover the other platforms as well, but not from EarnB to to the many, and also not from EarnB to the fiat version, but definitely like from the others to
Yeah,
EarnB.
that makes sense. Okay. Um,
Yeah.
so you gave your future aspirations for those platforms. What's your future aspirations, and what do you see in the future of WeSpark? How do you see it evolving from now?
So you have to imagine that WeSpark has been operating at a minimum. I mean, all of WeSpark's energy time has been going into Dmany and EarnB.
Okay. Do you still have
But
do you
yeah,
still
we
have
have done some.
people working? I mean, employees working there?
Yeah, but everyone working on Dmany and
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So
EarnB. So
you sort
yeah.
of converted them into
Uh,
going there. Okay.
yeah, but I don't know, like from time to time there are things that I have taken. Some little businesses, they don't take more than 10-20% of all my time, because I'm committed to EarnB, I'm committed to the many and so on. But like there was a project with the department from the US government that helps countries outside of the US to and helps them to develop their NGOs and to reach their social goals and things like this, right?
Hmm.
So since it was something very nice and pure, it has to do with education, it has to do with helping the world, I decided to take a contract with them. I cannot talk any details
Yeah.
or anything
That's
more,
fine.
but that's what I can mention. So I took it. Now then, we started a little project with my uncle called 21bitcoiners.com, and the idea is that we started creating Bitcoin art, but each thing will only have 21 pieces maximum in total. So with that in mind, yeah, with that in mind, I mean, this was like basically we spark resources and time that went into doing all of this stuff. So we are also doing that. We even started like little, not let's not call it partnership. I don't want to be ahead of anything, but we started cooperating a little bit with Mi Primer Bitcoin, or my first Bitcoin
Right.
in
Yes.
English. Right. I
I
mean, we
love
also
them. I love
like
these people.
sold the art together with them, so to raise for donations and also like for some workshops with them as well. Sorry, I need to clean my nose.
Yeah.
But but basically, what I want to say is that like WeSpark is involved in these things, and maybe I will be able to turn a little bit more uh, as things happen. As things, I prefer to talk about results and not about some compromises or talks that we have had. So, yeah, and look, and this is like a little bit of what I did last time. This one I didn't do
Okay. It
myself.
looks like
It
it looks
was
like the
done by
one in
a
Budapest.
yeah, exactly. It's based on it, but it was done by a master wood worker, or I don't know what
Carver.
is the
Yeah.
correct term, but a master in
Okay.
woodworking from Vietnam,
Wow.
and he made it by hand.
That's wicked.
It took 3 days
3 days.
to create the Satoshi. yeah,
You
yeah,
did
yeah.
that well.
I was orange feeling some people there in Vietnam. So yeah, this is the. But look, it's a Satoshi. It looks a little bit Asian Satoshi,
Yeah,
right?
it's like
Which is
yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
smells so good. But yeah, so maybe I will present to the people, and if the other people like it, then this is gonna be 1 out of 21, and then I'm going to contact this master
Yeah.
woodworker again, a master wood craftsman, or I forget the name. Sorry, and I will ask him to do 20 more. I mean, it's gonna be a couple of months salary,
Yeah.
like for them at a really really also like a good price as well. So beaconers will be supporting the artists, and then we are also kind of like making a little bit profitable business where we get to stack some more sats
Perfect.
and then even make cooler nicer art.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, I thought it was digital art, but it's actual physical art. So I heard you wanna go back to El Salvador in the upcoming years. Is there a reason for that?
I kid you not, 10 minutes before we started
Mm-hmm.
our call, our like your podcast and our interview, um, I sent 2 emails to people from the Salvadoran government. One asking them to help with understanding the current tax incentives and so on from El Salvador for opening a company there, and the second one asking support with understanding the process of opening a company in El Salvador under my current conditions. Yes, I mean I'm 100% thinking now, not only considering, but I feel that the decision has been made already unconsciously. I just need to say it out loud. But it feels very much that I will be moving my companies from Germany to El
Perfect.
Salvador. Technically, not moving. I will close them,
Yeah, you close them,
in
then you
Germany,
reopen
and then
them.
yeah, and then
That makes
reopen
sense.
in El
Yeah.
Salvador because yeah, I mean the I don't like Europe has been having a lot of let's call it authoritarian
Direction. Yeah,
directed
yeah.
somehow
I don't know.
ruling.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
I am highly unsatisfied with where Europe is going. um I don't like it. I am scared, like genuinely scared. I am fearful in the long term. And yeah, like I always have considered myself for a good at least like 15 years a global citizen. I feel comfortable wherever I go. Like I've been working in India even before, like from El Salvador, Germany to India, and many European countries, traveling across many countries, and I feel comfortable everywhere. So I will always go and add value. That means as in paying my taxes, hiring local
Mm-hmm.
people, and serving local businesses, or at least from there. I mean, with Bitcoin, you can serve international to the countries that are the closest to my values and principles. And I believe that every entrepreneur should be the
Absolutely.
same.
Yeah. Are you fully El Salvadorian? Like
I mean, I'm
100%?
fully Salvadorian in my heart, in my blood, and
Yeah.
I was born and raised in El Salvador.
Okay. Yeah. So your
Legally
parents are El
speaking,
Salvador.
I'm
Yeah.
German now, but I'm even considering like leaving again my German passport for the Salvadorian one, which is
Also, you had to you had to forego your El
yeah,
Salvadorian
I have to
passport.
give mine away. But let's see, there's some laws that might change, so maybe I get to retain both. But
Okay.
yeah, I don't know.
I
There's some
always thought you could keep two. That's weird.
at,
Okay.
at some point and at some age you will start strategizing with your like passport strategy, right? Like which passport should you have, like where is your residency. All of these things matter and have an impact on your businesses, an impact on your personal life and on your family and future generations. So uh
Mm-hmm.
since around 1.5 years I started learning more about that, and I'm just going to make the hopefully the most rational decisions about it, even
That's
through
good.
some of them, like if I tell like my parents or anyone from El Salvador that I'm changing the German passport for El Salvador, and they will think that I'm absolutely bollocks, that
Mad.
I'm crazy,
Yeah.
you know
I'd see why. But yeah,
yeah,
it is a power. It is a powerful passport,
yeah,
especially
but
it's Europe. But does it? Is it
yeah,
worth? Is it worth it?
is it worth it? That's a personal question, right? It depends on,
Exactly.
on, on your plans. So
And on your future as well. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Mm.
Has the farmers' strike hit Germany yet?
Mm,
Because I know it hit obviously France. It's and then it's now hitting
yes,
Belgium,
yes, it
and
did.
it did.
Look,
Are you feeling it or?
to be honest, there are many things to it. This is a very complex problem. I
Yeah.
skipped most of it because I was traveling in Thailand and Vietnam
Yeah. Exactly.
the past month. But traveling, but also workation, right? I mean, I cannot leave Dmany and EarnB unattended.
Yeah.
We
Sure.
have to continue, all of us, wherever we are. But but yeah, I mean, it's politics, and if you ask me, it's been just that. I mean, there's many perspectives, but the one that I see is that, because of some government regulations, market controlling, and ideas that, like making some prices a little bit cheaper and so on, blocking other countries such as Ukraine from participating in the EU, yeah, agricultural industry and so on, then all of these protests are happening, right? So yeah, like, what makes the most sense? The most sense is that we source food from where is the highest quality and the cheapest. Moving food around is super easy, so Ukraine has that thing. But like, people, if the subsidizes go away, then they will be like, for many farmers, there will be, like, out of business, many of them right away. Like, if they have to pay more taxes, they are out of business. It's no longer profitable anymore. But that's the thing, is that, like, I mean, here we start philosophing into, like, is it a free market? What is a free market? Some people even say that free market is regulated by the government. Other people, that free market is true liberal. To be honest, I don't know, and I feel uncomfortable to actually, like, suggest anything or any
Yeah.
solution, because I simply don't know enough about the topic. My knowledge about this
Absolutely. No.
topic is a few hours of
It'd be
learning.
insane to debate on a topic that
Yeah, yeah.
you. Yeah, exactly. Some friends usually want me to debate on certain topics, but
Yeah,
I'd be honest with them. I'd be like, if I don't know
yeah. I
enough
don't. I
about
don't
it,
even
I'm not
debate,
going to
man. I
be.
don't even
Yeah.
debate because the debate is ridiculous. Discussion,
Yeah.
dialogue is okay in a debate
Well,
by
debating can be
definition.
constructive depending
Yeah,
on
yeah,
how
exactly,
you.
exactly. And a
Obviously,
debate by
it's not. Yeah.
definition,
It's not yelling at each other, but yeah.
yeah, yeah. No, but remember that in a debate, by definition, one side is fighting to prove this point to other side. In a discussion, is two sides that want to find where they
Find
converge
middle
and what is
grounds. Yeah.
so that is kind of like why, the school debates and all this stuff, it's like, makes no sense.
You
Dialogue,
just have to have an ethical
discussion, trying
debate.
to, yeah,
Yeah.
get somewhere, that makes sense. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know, man. I will skip. For instance, skip. Poop.
Do you know when do you want to leave for El Salvador? Is it going to be like this year?
Yeah, seems so. I'm slowly moving. I mean, try to open companies maybe in March or something. I don't know. I have to talk with my tax lawyer. I also don't want to do anything that is going to make me liable to paying lots of money for virtually the wrong timing, right? That's the thing.
What
So
will
yeah,
happen with Jasha? Are you still going to collaborate but from a distance, or is he also considering
yeah, of course.
moving?
So like, basing myself on El Salvador doesn't mean living in El Salvador all the time.
Yeah.
It just means that this is where my headquarters is going to be. I will always be
Okay. And that's why
returning to El
you'll spend
Salvador.
most of the time, but you'll also
Yeah,
be
but
coming
I
back
will
to
still be
Germany.
around here in Europe. I will
Okay.
still be like traveling through Asia and so on. So yeah, I mean, look, the world is, I mean, it's huge and at the same time tiny, man. So I will be working there where I'm needed, and everything what I need is just to to kind of like not control, but to check on my schedule, that the hours are kind of like well with working with my partners and so on. So
Yeah.
maybe spending some time in Portugal, some time in Spain, then Salvador, coming
You
back to
seem to like
Salvador.
really
Then
traveling. You seem like
yeah,
to
yeah, yeah,
actually
yeah.
enjoy
So a
that.
little bit like, not a digital nomad, because digital nomad had really no base, but going a little bit in that direction. I don't know, man. Let's see where things go. I mean,
Yeah, it's
I'm
good.
not
Yeah,
the only
you've got
one
to
making
travel.
that decision.
Have you traveled a lot in the past, or are you only starting to travel now?
Yeah, remember that I say that I work for airlines before.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So
Well,
yeah,
you've
yeah, that
traveled a
is
bit.
where I was at the peak of my. No, wait, it was not my peak of my traveling. Maybe I was flying more often. but now I've been visiting more distant and cool places for
Yeah,
longer
more
periods of
remote
time.
to yeah. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, because
To
before
really
it's like, oh, okay, let's fly to Turkey, and then I will fly to Turkey over one weekend and then come back.
yeah.
Right.
It's not enough to immerse yourself in the culture. Do you actually do that just for fun, just like travel and drinking and stuff, or do you actually go there and immerse yourself in the culture and explore
Yeah,
the
meant
country?
to be the best thing that you can do is go somewhere and like be invited to someone else's house, or stay there, and then really like mix to it. But that's the most difficult thing, right? As a tourist, you never get it. But if you stay longer times, you start meeting some people. Maybe you make some friends, and that's the coolest part. So I don't know what to tell. It's more than that. It is very exciting when you just start saying yes to many things. I mean, just be careful, don't get kidnapped or something, or maybe you end in Myanmar or in one of these like slave camps.
Yeah,
I would love to go to Myanmar, by the way, but it's a little bit like the risk is a little bit too high now.
yeah.
I skipped this time frame a few years ago where I could have done something. Um, but but yeah, I don't know. I believe that exploring is really really cool. And like when growing up, like Indiana Jones movies were some of my favorite movies, like the first one, the third one. And like some places where I travel, and then maybe you wake up to some maybe Islamic prayers, or you're just joining like meditation courses made by Buddhist monks as well, like as I just did a couple of days ago.
That's wicked. I'd love
It's
to
just
do
really
that.
nice. It really feels
Yeah,
that you're exploring. The coolest thing is when you get to go out of the beaten path, of the most traveled path. When you go to a city that has no airport, when you go to a country
the
that
most
is a
remote.
little bit
Yeah,
more
with
tranquil.
no, which isn't touched by tourism.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, which isn't
Yeah,
touched by tourism. That's remote.
exactly. That feels really really cool. And that the thing is that it adds so much value back to you, particularly because when you are doing this stuff, you're learning from so many perspectives. You learn many things. And I don't know, like sometimes it feels like a dog crossed the street, you notice something, whatever, and then you have a little story that one day you will be able to use on a business context.
Yeah. Do you do you have any advice for people that want to travel and discover the world?
Yeah, like do your research before, if you're really going to go to distant places, check a little bit to learn about the cultures, like go
Yeah.
and google like do and don'ts list India, and then there's many things that you're not supposed to do in India, and there are things that you should be encouraged to do, and so on. But yeah, I haven't really traveled the world. I have seen maybe something between 40 and 50 countries only, which is which is
Sorry.
it's a lot, right? I but like because I work in airlines, I knew other people that have been to 70, 80, or something like this. So there's always someone who has traveled more than you. So it's you have to keep a balance. And yeah, and I guess that when you do this, if you're going for a long time far away traveling, you have to know that there's some negative part to it. You will miss most of your friends' birthdays, parties, maybe weddings, maybe daughters or sons that are born on their birthday, like birth parties, whatever, baby
Mhm.
showers. So you miss all of these things.
Yeah.
Same with family and so on. So yeah, there's pros and cons to everything. There's there's places and situations for everybody out there. So but only by exploring different things you will find what fits best to you.
Okay. I've got two last questions before we end off.
Sure.
One is that I've seen you obviously public speak a couple of times. One obviously through videos like the TEDx talk. I saw you recently at the Adopting Bitcoin conference in El Salvador. I've obviously seen you on stage in Cologne. Um, I believe you're very powerful public speaker. Do you have any advice on that, on how to properly present a topic with passion?
To be honest, I don't have any like super general advice to anyone else. More than you have to try it out. But the thing is that I learned through one way, and I can only suggest it because that's the only thing that I know.
Mm-hmm.
When I was 13 or 14 years old, um, my parents, I had a lot of troubles communicating, right? So I'm more of a visual thinker. I was learning, and particularly, I had trouble explaining ideas. So people will not understand what I'm talking about and so on. I wrote an article about it on LinkedIn. So if you look for Nelson Inno and go
Okay.
to my LinkedIn, there's an article called "What's Wrong with My Mind."
Mm-hmm.
Maybe nothing is wrong; it's just a little bit different. But I found that there are other people like me out there, and due to this, but then my parents said like, okay, you this guy is just slow when it comes to communicating and talking or something. So they sent me to a series of programs from an institute called Dale Carnegie.
Okay.
Dale Carnegie
Oh yeah, yeah,
Institute.
the author of how to influence and influence people. Yeah, I've read
Exactly,
this book.
from that
Yes.
author and so
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
And there I learned about public speaking. They call it rhetoric. I learned, yeah, I learned different things. I cannot remember which courses I made, but I made like two or three of them. So I got like the certificates from when I was very young,
Mm-hmm.
at the age of 13, 14, 15. I was doing this stuff, and yeah, this is how I learned it. I mean, it's a skill that you can acquire.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
You've just got to train, practice, do it, and
but
so
but the mindset plays a role, right? It's like,
yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna go out there, I'm gonna rock it. Yeah, I'm going to like when I'm pitching EarnB or Dmany, I'm just thinking, when I pitch Dmany, I'm just I just go there and think like, okay, I'm going to help a lot of people that in multiple countries to get a little bit extra income for them. So then maybe they sell these tokens and then they get their current local currency or US
Yeah.
dollars or fiat, and so on. When I go and pitch EarnB, I say like, okay, I'm going to help a lot of people that maybe already know a little bit about Bitcoin to earn some satoshis and start stacking. So I'm not thinking like, oh, what are people going to think or something. I'm just thinking is I want to get the biggest amount of people to learn about this, because fuck it, if they are not, they are missing out. And it's going to play a big role with year to year passing. It's going to play a bigger role, and it's going to be harder and harder to stack, like more satoshis and so on. So it is better that they hear it from me now than anything else. And when people have questions and people have critical questions, I'm going to be honest. When I don't know, I'm going to say like, look, I don't know, maybe we can talk about this. Maybe you know someone who could teach me about this. And when I have something, we have made a problem, I just say like, look, we have this problem, I don't know how to solve it, maybe you have an idea, we can talk afterwards. Or if I can answer it, I just answer straight away. But I'm not going with the perspective of, oh, how is it gonna feel, how are people going to check me. I'm just thinking it's like, how can I get most of the people to believe in me? And with that in mind, I have one single recommendation and one recommendation only. Whenever you're going to do a presentation or public speaking, you have to have an outcome that you want. There must be a call to action. You have to ask people something, like, try this out, join my team, learn this, whatever. But there must be something. If there is nothing like this, don't go and talk, because you're losing people's time.
Yeah. Okay.
If you're teaching them something, ask them to continue doing so, or to help you change the world, whatever.
Okay.
But there has to be something. I believe that is the one only thing that I can say for sure. Everything else you can learn. There's
Yeah.
YouTube videos, there's
There's
guys, there's Dale
books. There's yeah, yeah.
Carnegie, there's
It's absolutely okay.
whatever,
So
right?
you have to convey a powerful message with passion and have a call to action
Yeah.
at the end.
Yeah, and the message has to be actionable.
The message has to
There
be
has to be
actionable.
something that you want to change, because when you are taking people's time and this responsibility of going in front of the stage, you want to change something. You want to inform, ask people. There must be something that you want to do with it. It's not just about talking. Um, you know, else you're just doing maybe improv. Maybe you're doing entertaining. And so on. Maybe you just want to give people a laugh, but that is still something,
It's not an outcome. Yeah,
right?
it's to make people laugh.
Yeah,
Okay.
help people forget about their problems, something. But there's always a reason for you to go on stage,
Perfect.
not because someone sent you or because you want to be better at public speaking. It has to be because you want to change something.
Okay. And my last question to you, Nelson,
Sure.
is obviously you're an entrepreneur. What, again, it's always advice. It's always how I end these episodes is your last thoughts and advices. What would you advise to any aspiring entrepreneur that's scared to take the first step?
I will take the oldest wisdom of Master Yoda. Do or do not. There is no try. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. There is try, but when you go there, look, entrepreneurship is not for everyone. This is my absolutely very honest opinion. There is an increasing trend that everyone wants to be their own boss and thing, but it's uh, man, it's shit. The bad times are shit,
Yeah.
pure shit, ridiculously like heavy time. Fuck, I'm sorry that I have to say this word. It's difficult. It's hard. It's challenging.
Yeah.
On my worst days, I have been going down on my knees, naked, crying in the middle of my fucking
Fuck.
house because I had really bad days. I have had days where I thought I don't know how to pay for my apartment.
Yeah.
I have moments where I had going from 20K to minus 10K euros in 2 or 3 weeks. Um,
It's hard for
it's
sure.
super strong emotionally speaking, right? It's like a there is this metaphor that people use that entrepreneurship is like a roller coaster. And heck, I'm not going to be now like Nelson trying to be innovative or something. This is the best metaphor. It's like a roller coaster. You will be
Be like,
excited, then you will be scared, then
ah.
so it's always different. And at the very end, I believe that the one suggestion that I can tell you, wait, I'm gonna save it for the end. Before that, I want that everyone understands how I how I define entrepreneurship. By the way, I don't know the definition of entrepreneurship, whatever the Oxford Dictionary or some of these like all
Mm-hmm.
institutions say. I mean, it's cool that we have definitions for everything,
Yeah.
but some things require practical definitions. And for me, the definition of entrepreneurship is when, yeah, basically when you take your time, your energy, and well, your certainty that some things might or might not happen, and then you gamble them for an opportunity to create and add value for the world. And that is entrepreneurship. So it's nothing not because you use every single second of your conscious time, because you put all of your energy, because you had the highest amount of resources, whatever. There is no guarantee that things are going to work. You are gambling them. You're like kind of like staking them and see what happens with them. There's no warranties, but at least it gives you an opportunity to create a project of value for the world, so you can do your change. And that is innovation. Sorry, that is entrepreneurship for me. Now, with that in mind, my suggestion is that you better fucking have a true thing that you want to change in the world. Most of the companies out there started because there was a problem or a dissatisfaction, something that someone said this could be better and I can change it. So this thing should be really clear to you. Don't grab yourself from an idea, because ideas fail. Believe me, I have pivoted from ideas so many times. The first 3, 4, 5 months of WeSpark, I had not a customer, man. It was going crazy. And then, the first one came and it was a big company. And the second one, a bigger company. The third one, a super bigger company. Like that was Procter and Gamble, the third one, by the way. Uh, so, so what I'm trying to say is that you should really have something that you want to solve. Because if your idea fails, then that's it. There's no more idea. What can you do now? Whether if there is a problem that you want to solve at all costs, if your first idea didn't work, and your second idea didn't work, and your idea number 17 didn't work, there's still a problem that you have compromised yourself to solve, right? There's something that you still need to change out there, and this thing needs to be personal. It needs to influence you or someone else's that you know's life. And if it does, then maybe, and just maybe, it's going to propulsate you and give you the energy that you need to reach the high times. and it's going to give you the reasons to non-stop continue during the worst times. So that's it. Have something. I mean, people call it purpose, whatever. I would not label. I would not label anything. Go call it however the fuck you want, but you need to care about it, and you really want to change it. That's it. Period.
Perfect. Nelson, it was an honor to have you on. Thank you very much.